market or a monopoly or a monopolistic market or even an oligopolistic firm, all right, we have seen a lot of work, all right. All the conventional theories, whether they are related with the firm or whether they are related with the price and output determination, uh, you people have not even decided the topic as well. Very nice, congratulations. 15 days you cannot write a paper. 15 days you cannot write a paper possibly. So lot many topics are going on. Pandemic is on, all right. How pandemic is affecting your industry, or how pandemic has affected the economy, that could be one of the very interesting topics. Although you may not find the data, but you may find good deals in the newspapers, and you can quote the newspapers. I don't think in such times that we are living, you should be even looking for a topic, because the topic is so ready-madely available to you. So both the teams should talk to one another. Even if both the teams are writing on the pandemic, they should talk to one another and they should decide what they are thinking of writing. But it has to be an economic topic. All right. So far, we have always discussed whether we did the perfect competitive market, whether we have done the monopolistic market or an oligopolistic market, or we have done a monopoly market. Always we have concentrated on one thing, that all the firms want to maximize their profit. All right. We have never considered any other objective of the firm. Not with you people, not with you people. Okay, Muskan, we can talk about this later on. I will come back to what you are saying. Yes, you can discuss it out with me. Now, not with you people, but there is a syllabus, MCOM syllabus, and I really like it. In that, they have given the objectives of the firm. All right, there is a chapter called Objectives of the Firm. And when we look at the objectives of the firm, there is not only one objective that economy really harps on. All right, it really does not. When we talk about the objectives, there are several objectives that a firm may propose. All right, and what are those? It could be, ranging from profit maximization. It could be ranging from sales maximization, output maximization, satisfaction maximization, growth maximization, security maximization. So there could be several firms or goals of the firm, or objectives of the firm that the firm can achieve with the help of economy. All right. Now, Baumol was one person whose sales maximization theory, made its place in the oligopolistic structure. Right. Two very appreciated, highly appreciated theories that really go along are the game theory of oligopoly. That is a very renowned theory. All right. The modern economists and the mathematicians, they have, kind of theoretically try to sound, kind of theoretically sound applicable as far as formulating this particular theories are concerned. The Baumol sales maximization theory, as well as the game theory is concerned. And when we talk about these two theories are also empirically applicable to the firms. They are the theories which have a data. They can be applied in a realistic situation, and hence we really kind of highlight these two theories as a part of the oligopolistic market. So one is, of course, the sales maximization theory, which was developed by Baumol, William James Baumol, that was his full name, and the game theory, which was, of course, developed by Newman and Morgenstern, all right, John von Neumann and O. Morgenstern, and they also gave the concept of Nash equilibrium, which we are going to talk in future. What is this Baumol sales maximization theory of oligopoly? Now, when we look at this theory, right, profit maximization is not the only objective of all the business firms. Baumol says that he has, sort of done an empirical investigation, all right, and he says that it is not profit, but it is actually the revenue maximization or the sales maximization that hits the market, all right. And his theory, when he developed his theory of firm, all right, so he said that I am not going to base my theory on profit maximization. I am rather going to make sales maximization as an alternative theory of profit maximization as a firm's behavior. So what does he has to say about this? So what is the basic assumption or hypothesis Baumol has laid down for sales maximization rather than profit maximization, right? Now, he says, this is his word, that oligopolists typically seek to maximize their sales to a minimum profit constraint, right? According to him, he says that why should we believe that all the firms want to maximize their profit, right? He says rather all the firms, when they are trying to hire managers, when they are trying to hire different categories, especially in joint stock companies, especially in the corporate sector here, there is a particular head of every department. On every department, there is a manager. And when these managers are, they are given perks, they are given opportunities, they are given those, certain added benefits. For what? For maximizing their sale. Isn't that so? Isn't that true? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So a number of firms, their common objective is not profit maximization, rather their common objective is sales maximization. All right, many big business houses. All right, he says that these are the places where rather than profit, we are going to see sales as the highlighted portion of the economy. Especially with regard to modern business, he says management is separated from the ownership, and the managers, they are the one who are enjoying the benefits of pursuing their self goals, that is their self-implicated goals. And what are their self-implicated goals? That is, they want to maximize their personal benefits, they want to maximize their profit. And how do they do so? They do so via sales maximization. So business managers are the ones who are pursuing sale maximization criteria rather than profit maximization criteria. They want to maximize their personal profit via firm's sales maximization ideology. All right. He says financial institutions, they are the ones who consider sale as number one index of performance of the firm. All right. So they are favoring sales maximization, right? Number two, he says, when we are calculating our profits, we calculate the profits at the end of the financial year. Now, in our country, we do it every quarterly. All right. Now, but the sales figures are obtained every now and then. After every 15 days, after every day, at the end of the day, we are actually, periodically calculating our sales figures. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are we doing? We are assessing the performance of what we have done, how much revenue we have collected, how much sales we have done. So we are assessing the performance of the management. As a result, the sales maximization criteria sounds more, it is more sound than the other criteria. Then the third is when we are routinely evaluating the performance of the manager, because we have to give them increments, because we have to give them benefits, we have to give them more earnings. All right, again, sales maximization is a better criteria to opt for rather than profit maximization. Again, when we are dealing with the payments that are to be offered to the employees, all right, if the sales are better, we give them bonus, we give them better salaries. All right, but we cannot do that with the help of the profits, because that we are going to calculate at the end of the financial year, and that will not be possible. And by that time, the bonuses and the increments and the additional benefits will get delayed, and people will not be interested to join you as an industry. And so sales maximization is a better criteria as compared to profit maximization. And if I again have to favor sales maximization, Baumol said, he says, whenever we are periodically calculating the sales, we are actually we can make a very just what would you say, calculation of our growing market share in the economy. And if our market share is growing in the economy, we get that competitive strength. And via that competitive strength, the bargaining power of collusive oligopoly gets better. That will not like to entertain other firms to enter into the industry, and hence, the collusion will get stronger. So he says any day profit maximization is not a good deal, but as compared, sales maximization is any day a better deal than profit maximization. So W.J. Baumol, for the first time, has talked about these criterias, and people were not really open initially, but this criteria has come to last longer. So Baumol's criteria has been given in a two-way phenomena. One is without advertising, and the other where Baumol has brought in the concept of advertising. So we are going to talk about sales maximization without advertising and then with advertising. I'm making a diagram here, and I'm going to soon show you the diagram. We have the OX axis output, and OY axis we are taking total revenue and total cost. So with the total revenue curve, you will realize that we are actually give me a second. My diagram has gone wrong, and I'll have to draw that again. Oh. Okay, you draw it with me. I think that will be better. So we have our total revenue and total cost curve. I hope it is visible today. No blurring.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you see the total revenue curve? It is not a straight line, so we are dealing with imperfect competition. And total cost curve, because it's a combination of fixed and the variable cost, so it is starting from above the origin. Have you seen it?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we are going to look at these break-even points, these two break-even points where total revenue and total cost are equal. These are the ones, draw dotted lines here. Have you drawn it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now we are going to draw two lines here. One where I feel that the gap between total revenue and total cost is maximum. But before that, I am also going to make a total profit curve. We've made this when we were doing the total revenue and total cost approach. Do you remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
But here there is a difference. The point where the gap between the total revenue and total cost is different is H and M. This is where the gap between the total revenue and total cost is different, is maximum. Can you see it?
मैम इसमें वो प्रॉफिट का मैक्सिमम पॉइंट नहीं होगा?
Abhi, I'm just coming to that. You draw this line first of all. Call it Q3. Call it Q3. Whereas there is another point where the bulge is way too much. This point. Actually, my total revenue curve is not, I don't have enough space to draw it. You continue with whatever you have. You don't have to erase it. Let me make the bulge properly so that I can able to teach you what I want to teach you. Let me make it to my satisfaction and then I will. One. And then this is point J, and this is point K. And then we have point E. And we call this as Q3. And we call this as Q1. And then we have a price 2 curve. And here is what we have. This is D. Let's make another line here. Let's call it L. Let's call it Q2. Let's call it F here. I hope all the points have been marked. Let's call it B2. Yeah, I think now I have got it. Yes, now I have a total revenue curve, total cost curve, and total profit curve. The gap between the revenue and the cost is maximum at this point. If you can see that, this is J point. So through the lines J, K, and the other, we can make out the gap between the revenue and the cost is maximum. And where the gap between the total revenue and the total cost is maximum, that is a mirror image of the profit. So the profit is maximum at this point E. All right, and we bring this line, we call it Q1 output. And then there is another line, there is another bulge here. All right, seen so that the gap between the two is higher here as well. But this is HM point, we bring a line here and we call it Q3. Then there is this portion T here. We have the price lines P1 and P2. Initially P1 and then P2. If we look at P2, it is just very closely passing the highest point of the total profit curve, and then it moves ahead. Within the J and the H, we have another line F, which is a perpendicular line towards the OX axis, and the point where it touches P2 is the point L, and then it moves and touches OX axis and is called Q2. If you have all drawn this, OX axis we have the output, and OY axis we have the total revenue and the total cost. Have you all drawn?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Have you all drawn, Bete?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can I keep it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, when we look at this diagram, all right, we can easily see that we have the total revenue and the total cost curve, right? And of course, if we are assessing not the profit, we are assessing the sales, right? So the total cost and the total revenue curves are shown, and there is also the total profit curve, which is of course obtained by the difference between the total revenue and the total cost, all right? So when we look at the 2 points where TR and TC are equal, that is no profit, no loss zone, or the break-even point, we also call it. And if we look at the diagram, the profit is maximum at EQ1. All right, the profit is maximum at EQ1 or JK, which is the mirror image of the two. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
And at this point the profit is the output is OQ1. अब अगर किसी firm का objective sales revenue है, right? So given the total revenue and total cost curves that we have, we are going to have not profit maximization as our main aim. Our main aim or main focus should be sales maximization. So एक unique level of output जहाँ पर हमारी sales revenue maximum है, हम उसकी तरफ देखेंगे. As a rule, टोटल सेल्स जहां मेरी मैक्सिमम होंगी वहां इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड मेरी इक्वल टू 1 होनी चाहिए, बिकॉज जब हम मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू क्या है, इट इज डेल्टा रेवेन्यू, इट इज डेल्टा टीआर अपॉन डेल्टा क्यू. यस और नो?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I say that my marginal revenue, when it is equal to 0, all right, when my marginal revenue is equal to 0, that is the point where my elasticity is equal to 1. यही किया था, भूल जाते हो तुम लोग ना सारा कुछ. I don't know why I have to repeat it again and again. जब हम एवरेज रेवेन्यू, मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू और इलास्टिसिटी का कॉन्सेप्ट कर रहे थे, और राइट, लोअर सेगमेंट अपॉन दी अपर सेगमेंट, तो मैंने क्या कहा था, एवरेज रेवेन्यू का लोअर सेगमेंट अपॉन दी अपर सेगमेंट, और राइट, और उसका कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग जब मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू कर्व होता है, सो जब एवरेज रेवेन्यू इक्वी डिस्टेंस होता है, उसका लोअर पोर्शन और अपर पोर्शन दोनों बराबर हैं, और लोअर पोर्शन और अपर पोर्शन दोनों बराबर हैं. If you can look at this small diagram. Can you look at this small diagram?
Yes, ma'am.
So in this diagram, this is my demand curve on my average revenue line. In this, when the lower portion of the demand curve is equal to the upper portion of the demand curve, that is the point where elasticity is equal to 1. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
But what is happening to the corresponding marginal revenue curve? मार्जिनल रेवेन्यू कर्व जब एवरेज रेवेन्यू कर्व को टच करती है ना यहाँ पर, तब वो प्रिसाइसली एवरेज रेवेन्यू कर्व को 2 इक्वल हिस्सों में बांटता है. डू यू रियलाइज दैट?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is happening here? Marginal revenue curve यहाँ पर क्या है?
0.
0. So यहाँ पर क्या होगा? Elasticity will be equal to 1.
Yes, ma'am.
And when the elasticity is equal to 1, we actually say that that is the point where the sales are maximum. This point will always be the highest point of the total revenue curve. ऐसा नहीं होता जब total revenue curve आपका maximum होता है, आपका marginal revenue curve at that point is equal to 0, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So the point H, if you look at in the diagram, it is the highest point of the total revenue curve. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
The distance between J and K is maximum, but that is not the highest point of the total revenue curve. What is the highest point of the total revenue curve? Point H. Yes or no? So that is the
Yes,
point
ma'am.
where marginal revenue is equal to 0. And if marginal revenue at this point is equal to 0, what is happening to the marginal cost? According to the principle of equilibrium, MC is equal to MR.
Yes, ma'am.
So if MR is 0, what is happening here? MC will also be
Zero.
0. But Baumol theory, is replacing the profit maximization rule of MC is equal to MR by sales maximization rule. All right. What does he show? He says the firm will maximize its revenue not at OQ1, but it will maximize its revenue or output at OQ3. And the profit at that point, where the profit may be less, the profit is just HM or TQ3, you can see, which is lesser. This profit is, enough, and this profit is not maximum, but it is enough to give the shareholders their profit. All right. So the firm will continue to produce at OQ3 output and will charge a price which is equal to TR upon OQ. All right. So in this point, when we look at the whole HQ3, the total revenue curve HQ3, and we look at the total output OQ3, so the price here will be the revenue upon output, that is HQ3 upon OQ3 will be the price that will be charged. And but अगर हम प्रॉफिट एट आउटपुट OQ3 देखें तो वो जो प्रॉफिट है वो मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट नहीं है, लेकिन वो सैटिस्फैक्टरी प्रॉफिट है. All right, are you getting that point? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
बोलो.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
We are looking at two equilibrium point. First equilibrium point is one, जहां profit constraint जो है, all right, वहां हमारा sales maximization जो है, जो profit constraint वहां पर profit is acting as a barrier to sales maximization. all right, तो यहाँ पर हम अपना टोटल रेवेन्यू HQ3 है और हमारा टोटल आउटपुट OQ3 है, और सेकेंड इक्विलिब्रियम पॉइंट वो है जहां हमारा टोटल आउटपुट OQ1 है और हमारा टोटल प्रॉफिट JQ1 है या टोटल रेवेन्यू JQ1 है, लेकिन मुझे JQ1 आउटपुट नहीं चाहिए. वो प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमम हो सकता है, लेकिन मुझे HQ3 टोटल रेवेन्यू चाहिए क्योंकि वो मुझे मैक्सिमम सेल्स दे रहा है. सो इफ मिनिमम रिक्वायर्ड प्रॉफिट is OP1, all right, then the firm will stick to sales maximization goal. And if we have to concentrate on the profit maximization criteria, then we are going to look at OQ1 amount of output. So whatever your criteria is, you can pick up, but according to Baumol, he is going to continue to produce at OQ3 rather than OQ1. If you choose to have profit maximization criteria, of course, you are producing less than whatever is maximally required. But if you're concentrating on the sales maximization criteria, he says, even though the profits are not maximum, but they are satisfactory enough to provide to the joint stock companies their shares, he says, we can continue to work on this model. Have you understood this? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what is the Baumol's model with respect without advertising. All right. Then he also gave a model for with advertising. Right now, his model of price and output determination. has been given in a single period model without advertising. So he was criticized, but in the oligopolistic structure, advertisements play a very, very important role. Non-price competition plays a very, very important role. So, he added a few more ifs and buts to his theory. So he made a new model on the basis of a few assumptions. The assumptions are that the firm's objective again is sales maximization, all right, but they are subject to a minimum profit constraint. कुछ मिनिमम प्रॉफिट होना चाहिए, जैसे हमने पीछे भी देखा. नंबर 2, एडवर्टाइजिंग जो है वो हमारे डिमांड कर्व को डेफिनेटली शिफ्ट करेगी, बिकॉज जब लोग एडवर्टाइजिंग देखेंगे उनकी डिमांड बढ़ेगी, सो द डिमांड कर्व विल शिफ्ट अपवर्ड्स. सो जो टोटल सेल्स है, टोटल सेल्स रेवेन्यू या हमारा टीआर कर्व है, वो भी इंक्रीज होगा विद द इंक्रीज इन एडवर्टाइजिंग एक्सपेंडिचर. तीसरी अजम्पशन वो ये कहता है कि मेरे प्राइसेस जो हैं वो कांस्टेंट रहेंगे, ये एक अजम्पशन उसने बनाई थी. एंड नंबर 4 वो ये कहता है कि मेरी प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट और मेरी एडवर्टाइजमेंट कॉस्ट दोनों अलग है. वो है भी ट्रू भी, प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट के अंदर आपकी सेल्स कॉस्ट, सेलिंग कॉस्ट नहीं आती. सो प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट जो है दे आर इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ एडवर्टाइजिंग. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड दिस क्राइटेरिया टिल सो फार, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So he made another diagram, and let's look at another diagram that this guy made. So we have another diagram very similar to what Baumol gave earlier. If you can look at the diagram, all right. We have not marked any points here, but here the total cost curve is a straight line. Total revenue curve remains to be the way we have been drawing it earlier. The maximum, the highest point of the total revenue curve is this, where when it touches the OX axis, it is AC, and the maximum profit line you can easily see is when it touches the OX axis is AP, and then we have another straight line curve B here, which you can see easily. Can you see it, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are taking the total revenue and the total cost and the profit on the y-axis, and of course our total outlay or total output on the OX-axis. You can see that the total revenue curve is drawn, and the assumption behind the total revenue curve is कि अगर advertising हम increase करेंगे तो हमारी total sales जो है they are also going to going to increase, and there will be price reduction as well. And the total cost curve, it includes जो हमारी cost है इसमें production cost भी है, advertising cost भी है. So total profit curve मेरा PP dash है, और आपको पता है profit is total revenue minus the total cost curve. तो profit maximizing जो अगर हम advertising expenditure देखें, which is equal to, अगर मैंने maximize profit करना है तो मेरा profit maximizing expenditure होगा OAP. Can you see it here? OAP, the first line here. This is profit maximizing expenditure. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
And the maximum profit here is equal to MAP. Can you see the maximum profit here? Yes, Vijay?
Yes, ma'am.
But if we assume, as the assumptions we have already made, but if we assume that minimum profit required is OB, मुझे सिर्फ इतना ही प्रॉफिट चाहिए ताकि मैं अपने स्टेक होल्डर्स को उनके हिसाब से उनका पैसा बांट सकूं. So अगर मेरा मिनिमम प्रॉफिट OB is required, तो मेरा जो सेल्स मैक्सिमाइजिंग advertising expenditure होगा, that will be equal to OAC. Is that clear to everybody? Yes or no? So what does that imply? It implies कि firm कब तक advertise करता रहेगा, कब तक advertisement के ऊपर पैसा खर्चता रहेगा, वो तब तक advertisement के ऊपर पैसा खर्चता रहेगा until it reaches the profit constraint level, that is until the profits are reduced to the minimum acceptable level. मैं तब तक अपना एडवर्टाइजिंग करती रहूंगी, मैं अपनी सेल्स तब तक कंटिन्यू करती रहूंगी और एडवर्टाइजमेंट के ऊपर पैसा खर्चती रहूंगी जब तक कि मेरा जो प्रॉफिट कंस्ट्रेन लेवल तक या मिनिमम प्रॉफिट लेवल तक मेरी जो है आई डू नॉट रीच अप टू दैट लेवल. सो एट दिस पॉइंट जब प्रॉफिट मिनिमम एक्सेप्टेबल लेवल पर रीच हो जाएंगे, मेरी सेल्स मैक्सिमाइजेशन हो जाएगी और मुझे तब उसके बाद एडवर्टाइजमेंट की कोई और जरूरत नहीं है. All right, so I am not concentrating on profit maximization. I'm actually dealing with sales maximization. Is that clear to everybody? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
this model, of course, was criticized. This model says that in the long run, जब mall sales maximization hypothesis अपना model देता है, तो वो कहता है कि minimum required level of profit जो है और जो normal level of profit जो है, वो आपस में coincide करते हैं. Normal level of profits यानी कि what would you say कि just enough to remain in the industry. तो वो कहता है अगर आपको normal profits introduce हो रहे हैं तो आप sales maximize नहीं कर सकते, आपको कुछ ना कुछ incentives भी देने हैं. वो incentives आप कहाँ से देते हो मैनेजर्स को? अपने profits में से देते हो. तो वो कहता है अगर आप सिर्फ नॉर्मल प्रॉफिट अर्न कर रहे हो तो वो इंसेंटिव्स कहाँ से आएंगे. ठीक है. दूसरी बात जो बमॉल की थ्योरी, सेल्स थ्योरी जो हमने क्रिटिसाइज की थी, वो कहता है कि फर्म इक्विलिब्रियम और इंडस्ट्री इक्विलिब्रियम के बीच में ये डिस्टिंग्विश नहीं करता. तो वो कहता है कि ओलिगोपोली में चाहे हम मोनोपोलिस्टिक कंपटीशन की बात कर रहे हैं या ओलिगोपोली की बात कर रहे हैं, वहां पर एक ग्रुप रहता है. ओलिगोपोली में एक कार्टेल रहता है, एक कोल्यूजन रहता है. वो सब एक ग्रुप का काम करते हैं, इंडस्ट्री का काम करते हैं. सो वहां पर उसका इक्विलिब्रियम क्या? वी आर ओनली टॉकिंग अबाउट अ सिंगल फर्म. सो एवरी सिंगल फर्म, if they are talking about sales maximization, that may not be the objective of the entire industry. Third, it is talking about, it is not at all talking about what will the rival firm do. एक फर्म ने सेल्स मैक्सिमाइज कर लिया, दूसरी फर्म का अगर ऑब्जेक्टिव प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमाइजेशन है तो वो आपको पीछे पछाड़ के काफी आगे निकल जाएगी. सो एक्चुअल कंपटीशन जो है वो हमेशा विद रिस्पेक्ट टू प्रॉफिट होता है, सेल्स नहीं होता जी. All right, so these are the various and even जो बमॉल ने जो सोल्यूशन दिया है कि sales are more preferable than the profit, it is not true from the socialistic welfare point of view as well, because sales में the people will become more selfish. All right, they would want to gain their benefits in order to meet their targets, and they will not look at the social welfare of the people. So उसमें वो immoral activities भी कर सकते हैं. All right, वो अपनी sales बढ़ाने के चक्कर में लोगों को mislead कर सकते हैं. So from social welfare point of view also this model is not acceptable. So with this we come to an end of Baumol's sales maximization theory, and we are left with the last part of the model that we are going to do is the game theory, and we are going to discuss game theory tomorrow. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I think the Baumol sales maximization model was clear enough, and tomorrow we are going to do the last part of oligopolistic market, and Muskan was saying that you want to discuss the topic with me. Once I finish oligopoly, we can discuss the topic. Is that clear to all of us?